Okay, so the purpose of this exercise class is for you to appreciate the difference between the amounts that will be reported in the separate financial statements of the parent, the subsidiary, compared with the consolidated entity. If you'll be able to see the connection between the amounts reported by these entities class, it should be easier for you to approach problems involving intercompany sale of depreciable assets. So here at the time, subsidiary had a depreciable asset with a book value of 560 and had a remaining useful life of 7 years. The fair value of the asset at the date was 595. Why is the fair value at the date of acquisition important, class? Because that is the amount in which that asset will be carried in the financial statements of the consolidated entity. What does that mean? If you ask the consolidated entity how much is the value of the asset, the answer would be 595,000. But are you going to see this 595,000 in the books of the subsidiary? Who owns the asset class? Subsidiary. Where will this asset be found? In the books of the subsidiary. Now, are you going to see this asset at 595,000 in the books of the subsidiary? No. In the separate records of the subsidiary, in the separate financial statements of the subsidiary, the asset will continue to be recorded at 560,000. What is the significance? The subsidiary will depreciate the asset based on the value of 560. But does the consolidated entity agree to that valuation? The answer is no. How should the asset be valued in the eyes of the consolidated entity? It should be valued at 595,000. And therefore, the asset should also be depreciated based on the amount of 595,000 as far as the consolidated entity is concerned. So that is why, for the first line there, class, you're asked to solve for the depreciation expense. How much would be the depreciation expense in the separate financial statements of the subsidiary? It would simply be 560 divided by 7. How much is 560 divided by 7? Our answer would be 80,000. So if you look at the separate income statement of the subsidiary, you will see there depreciation expense of 80,000. How about in the books of the parent? Will any depreciation expense be reported for this asset in the books of the parent? No. The parent is not involved here as of 2017. As of 2017, to whom does the asset belong? It belongs to the subsidiary. Okay, so it will not appear in the books of the parent. No depreciation expense in relation to this asset will appear in the income statement of the parent. But will a depreciation expense be reported in the consolidated financial statements? Yes, because all assets of the subsidiary and the parent are assets of the consolidated entity as well. And supposedly, the consolidated entity will just base the amounts it will report on the amounts reported by the parent or the subsidiary. So does that mean the answer for the depreciation expense for the consolidated financial statements would also be 80,000? No. Because again, the consolidated entity does not agree that the asset is valued at 560. How much is the valuation as far as the consolidated entity is concerned? 595. So how should this asset be depreciated as far as the consolidated entity is concerned? It would be depreciated based on 595. So how do you get the depreciation expense? How do you get the depreciation expense as far as the consolidated entity is concerned? Simply divide 595 by 7. And how much will that give you, class? 85,000. So for the first line, class, subsidiary 80,000, parent 0, and then the consolidated entity 85,000. Now let's analyze these amounts. What would be the difference between the depreciation expense for the subsidiary and the consolidated entity, class? How much is the difference? 5,000. Now, where do you think this 5,000 comes from? Basically, it comes from the difference between their carrying amount. Okay? Because they differ in the carrying amount as far as the consolidated entity and the subsidiary is concerned, the resulting depreciation would also be different. But where else, how else can we compute for the 5,000 plus? The 5,000 is really just the amortization of the excess. I hope you can still remember the amortization of the excess, class. The excess of the fair value over the book value. And every year, that will be an adjustment to the income of the subsidiary, particularly on the expenses of the subsidiary. So what do I mean? How much is the excess of the fair value over the book value class? Pilay fair value again, 595. How much was the book value? 560. So which one exceeds the other? The fair value exceeds the book value by how much? 35,000. And what do we normally do with the excess over the book value class? It is amortized over the useful life of the asset. But take note, this does not apply for land because land is not subject to depreciation. Okay? So, how much is the excess? 35,000. Over how many years will it be amortized? 7,000. Okay, so 35,000 divided by 7 years, 7 years, not 7,000. 35,000 divided by 7 years will give you 5,000 annual amortization. So, if the problem will give you, class, the depreciation expense of the subsidiary, which is 80,000, and you're asked to solve how much will be the depreciation expense for the consolidated entity, it's really just 80,000 plus 5,000. So even if we are not given with the 595,000, we can still solve for 85,000 provided we are given with the excess to be amortized class. Okay? So the 85,000 can be solved in two ways. Number one, 595 divided by 7. Number two, 80,000 plus 5,000. And how, again, did we solve for the 5,000 class? The excess of 35,000 divided by 7 years. Let's proceed to the carrying amount class. Fourth line. Carrying amount at the end of 2017. On January 1, how much was its carrying amount? Obviously, in the books of the subsidiary, it is 560. Okay? Will it remain at 560 at the end of 2017? No, because there will be additional depreciation. Accumulated depreciation will increase, resulting in a lower carrying amount. And how much again was the depreciation expense class? 80,000. So if it was 560 at the start of the year, we have depreciation this year of 80. The carrying amount on December 31, 2017 would simply be 560 minus 80. How much is 560 minus 80 plus? 480,000. And that will already be the answer. How about for the parent? Obviously, the asset is not with the parent, so nothing to report as far as the parent is concerned. So the answer here will also be 0. Now, consolidated entity. We can use the same approach we used for the subsidiary. How did we get the 480 class? We started with the carrying amount at the start of the year. But for the consolidated entity class, how much is the carrying amount of the asset at the start of the year? From the perspective of the consolidated entity, is it 560? No, it is 595. Now, what do we do with the 595? Divide the depreciation expense. How much depreciation expense are we going to deduct? Are we going to deduct the 80,000? No, the depreciation expense in the eyes of the consolidated entity is not 80,000 but 85,000. Do you follow? So what do you do? Deduct the 85,000 from 595,000. How much is 595 minus 85,000? That will give you 510,000. So how do we solve for 510? The carrying amount initial carrying amount in the eyes of the consolidated entity minus the depreciation expense as far as the consolidated entity is concerned, or 595 minus 85. And that will give you 510. Now compare that with the carrying amount in the books of the subsidiary. Pila ang subsidiary class? 480. Pila ang consolidated entity? 510. Is there any way for us to arrive at 510 starting from 480? Yes, analyze the difference. How much is the difference between 480 and 510? How much is the difference between 480 and 510? 30. What do you think this 30 represents? The unamortized or the remaining excess. How much was the total excess at the date of acquisition? 35. How much was amortized this year? 5. So the remaining or the unamortized excess is 30. So what does that tell us? That the carrying amount of the asset then, in the eyes of the consolidated entity, is simply the carrying amount in the books of the subsidiary plus or minus the excess. I say plus or minus class because it depends on which one is greater, whether it's the fair value or the uh, book value. But normally it would be the book value that would be lower than the fair value. Okay? So you can just remember 480 plus the unamortized excess. But again, to be safe, it's actually plus or minus, depending on which one is greater. I hope you see the relationships here, class. Okay? Go back to the second line, 2018 depreciation expense. What happened in 2018? On January 1, 2018, the subsidiary sold the building to the parent for 522,000. And the question is, how much is the depreciation expense in 2018? Let's start with the subsidiary. How much will the subsidiary report as depreciation expense in relation to this asset for the year 2018? Our answer would be 0 because the asset is no longer with the subsidiary. Plus, it's different if the sale happened in the middle of the year because there will be partial reporting of depreciation expense. But here, no depreciation expense for the subsidiary because the sale took place on January 1. You follow? So who will be reporting a depreciation expense for this asset? It would be the parent. Now, how do we compute for the depreciation expense? Again, you ask, how much is the value of the asset as far as the reporting entity is concerned? Which reporting entity are we trying to solve right now? It is the parent. And how much is the value or the cost of this asset on the part of the parent? It's 522,000. So this asset is recorded in the books of the parent at 522,000. Why? Because that is the amount paid for by the parent. The entry here would be debit, billing, and credit cash in the amount of 522,000 at the date of purchase. That's the entry. So in the books of the parent, the asset is initially carried at 522, so the depreciation expense will be based on 522,000. Okay, so we can already compute for the depreciation expense. But what if you are careless, class? What would you have done? You would have divided by 522 by how many years, class? 7. But why is 7 wrong, class? Because at this point, the remaining useful life is no longer 7 but 6 years. So 522 divided by 6 is how much? 87,000. You follow? So how much is the depreciation expense that will be reported by the parent for this asset in 2018? The answer would be 87,000. You follow? Next, consolidated entity. Do you think the consolidated entity agrees that the depreciation expense would be 87,000? No, because in the eyes of the consolidated entity class, no sale took place. It's just a transfer from one part of the consolidated entity to another component of the consolidated entity. So if you ask the consolidated entity, what was the basis for the depreciation of this asset? It is still the 595. You follow? So the annual depreciation class on the part of the uh, consolidated entity would be 85,000 still. It does not matter that it was sold from the subsidiary to the parent. Do you follow, class? Okay, so the answer in the second line for the consolidated entity will still be 85,000. Do you follow, class? Let's solve for the gain on sale first. Second to the last line. Gain on sale in 2018. Who will be reporting a gain on sale? The subsidiary or the parent? Subsidiary, because it was the subsidiary who made a sale. Now, for how much did the subsidiary sell it, class? 522. How much was the carrying amount of the asset when it was sold? Remember, it's carrying amount at the end of last year. It will be the carrying amount at the start of 2018. So, the book value of the asset in the books of the subsidiary at the date of sale was 480. And for how much was it sold, class? 522. So how much was what did the subsidiary have? A gain or a loss? Gain, how much? 42,000. Okay. How about for the parent? Will the parent report any gain? No. How about the consolidated entity? No, because again, the sale did not take place in the eyes of the consolidated entity. Where will the gain appear lang? Only in the books of the subsidiary. So this will be another source of an eliminating entry when preparing for consolidated financial statements. Now, go back to your 2018 depreciation expense. Go back to your 2018 depreciation expense. I want to emphasize, class, that from the amount reported by the parent or the subsidiary, you can use those amounts to arrive at the amount that should be reported by the consolidated entity. Okay, what do I mean? In 2017, what did we do? To get at 85, can we start at 80 for 2017? Yes. How do we arrive at 85 starting from 80? 80 plus 5. And what did the 5 represent? The amortization of the excess. Now, can we arrive at 85,000 for 2018 starting at 87? The answer is yes, guys. How do we arrive at 85 from 87? What do you do? Still the same. Add the amortization of the excess. How much would be the amortization of the excess again? Every year it would be 5,000. Okay, so how much is 87,000 plus 5,000? That will give you 92. Sir, I thought we're looking for 85. Why are we at 92? Because there's one more thing you have to do to amortize the gain on sale. How much was the gain on sale, class? You've solved it already. How much was the gain on sale? 42,000. Over how many years will the gain on sale be amortized? Over the remaining life. How much is the remaining life of the asset, class? Only 6 years. So you will amortize the unrealized gain. Because it's an unrealized gain, class, because it does not exist in the eyes of the consolidated entity. It was not sold to outside parties. It was only a transfer from one part of the consolidated entity to another part. And how much is 42 divided by 6, class? 7. Okay, since this is an amortization of gain, class, this would be a reduction to your total expenses. So that means, how do we arrive at 85 starting from 87, class? 87 plus 5 minus 7. 87 plus 5 minus 7 will lead you to 85. Okay? What is this 5 we're talking about, class? Amortization of the excess at the date of acquisition. What is this 7 that we are also talking about? This is the amortization or the realization of the gain on sale. Okay? I hope you're able to see the connection. With that, let's proceed to the carrying amount at the end of 2018. The carrying amount at the end of 2018. In the books of the subsidiary, at what amount will the asset be reported, class? 0, because the asset is no longer with the subsidiary. Where can we find the asset? It will now be reported by the parent. At what amount will it be reported by the parent? Will it still be at 522, class? No, the 522 was at January 1, 2018. At the end of 2018, do we expect it to remain at 522? No, because it was already subjected to depreciation equivalent for 1 year. How much was the depreciation expense reported by the parent, class? 87. Are we going to use that to get the carrying amount in the books of the parent? Yes. So 522 minus 87. How much will that give you? 435,000. So the carrying amount of the asset in the books of the parent would be 435,000. Now, for the consolidated entity, how much? How much was its carrying amount last year? 510. How much was the depreciation expense as far as the consolidated entity is concerned? Still at 85. So what will the consolidated entity do? 510 minus 85. How much is 510 minus 85? 425. So you can actually say that simpler kayo si consolidated entity. That is if you maintain a separate book for the consolidated entity. But we do not do that. We always base it on the amounts reported by the parent or the subsidiary. Now, how did we arrive at 425, class? 510 minus 85. Very easy. Why was it easy, class? Because we had the 595 given at the start of the problem. Do you follow? But is it possible for us to arrive at 425 using 435, class? Is it possible for us to arrive at 425 from 435? Yes, of course. But the question is, do you know how to arrive at 425 from 435? Let's go back to 2017. How did we arrive at 510 plus 400 from 480, class? 480 plus 30. What was that 30 that we used in 2017? The remaining or the unamortized excess. How about we try to do that, class? Pilay carrying amount in the books of the parent, 435. How much is the remaining excess? Is it still at 30, class? No, because it was also amortized this year. How much was the amortization this year? 5. Every year it will be 5. Do you follow, class? So how much will be the remaining unamortized excess at the end of 2018? 25. What do we do with the 25? Add 435 plus 25. How much will that give you? 435 plus 25 will give you 460. Sir, nagkalayo ta sa 425. I thought our goal is 425. Did we do something wrong? No. But there's still one more thing we need to do. Where are we currently at, class? 435 plus 25 will give you 460. But pila to target, class? 425. How do you arrive at 425 from 460? Oh, how much is the difference? 35. What do you think this 35 represents? What's this 35? Was this the initial excess, class? No. What is this 35? The remaining unrealized gain on sale. How much was the gain on sale initially? 42. How much did we already realize this year? 7. So 42 minus 7 will give you 35. Okay, so these amounts are really just connected, class. Again, how do we arrive at 425? Starting from the amount that was reported by the parent, 435 plus 25. What is this 25? This is the remaining unamortized excess. What else do we do? Deduct the remaining unrealized. It's redundant to call it remaining, class. Deduct the unrealized loss. Initial unrealized loss, 42. How much was realized this year? 7. So the unrealized loss at the end of 2018 will just be 35. So 435 plus 25 minus 35 will give you the carrying amount to be reported by the consolidated entity, which is 425. Okay. Are we done with the third line, class? 2019 depreciation expense? No? Not yet, right? We only did 2018. Am I correct? 2019. Depreciation expense for the subsidiary, still 0. Depreciation expense for the parent, the same, 87,000. No other transaction happened. The last transaction took place at the end of 2019. Depreciation expense for the consolidated entity, still at 85. What can you observe for the consolidated entity class? 2017, 18, and 19, it is constant at 85 because we're using straight line. Okay, so the answers for 2018 and 2019 depreciation expense will be the same. Next, let's analyze the gain on sale in 2019. What did the... I think we need to do the carrying amount first. Okay. Uh, for the subsidiary, it will still be 0. How about for the parent class? How much is the carrying amount immediately before the sale? At the end of 2019, but before the sale class. What do we do? How much is the previous carrying amount? 435. Minus the depreciation of 87. How much is 435 minus 87? How much? 340. That would be the carrying amount. But technically, class, what would be the best answer here? The carrying amount would be 0 because it was already sold to outside parties. But immediately before the sale, how much was the carrying amount? 348. With this, let's solve for the gain on sale in 2019 to be reported by the parent. How much was the carrying amount of the asset sold? 340. How much was the selling price? 360. So, how much was the gain? Gain or loss? Gain. It was sold for 360 when its carrying amount was only 340. So the gain then on the part of the parent is only 12,000. Let's move to the consolidated entity. How much would be the carrying amount as far as the consolidated entity is concerned? How much was its previous carrying amount, class? 425. And how much was the depreciation expense? 85. How much is 425 minus 85? 340. So the carrying amount of the asset immediately before the sale is 340. Now, can we arrive at 340 from 348? What was the first solution for 340, class? 425 minus 85. Now, applying what you have learned for 2018, how do you arrive at 340 from 348? So, how did we arrive at 425 from 435, class? Class, how did we arrive at 425 plus from 435? What did we do? 435 plus, what did we add, ganit, class? The unamortized excess, correct? How much was the unamortized excess? 25. And what else did we do? We deducted the unrealized, which was 35. So 435 plus 25 minus 35 gave us 425. Let's do the same for 2019. We have 348 plus what? What's the first thing that we did? Added the unamortized excess. Pila naman lang ang unamortized excess after 2019? Is it still 25? It's no longer 25 because there's an amortization for the year in the amount of 5,000. So 348, pila lang ang amortized? 20. So 348 plus 20 will give you 368. Again, we're getting farther from 340. By how much? 368 minus 340. How much is the difference? 28. What do you think this 28 represents? The unrealized gain. I thought the unrealized gain was 42. It was 42 at the start. After 1 year, it was 35. Yeah, pila to ang ma-realize every year, class? 7. So 35 minus 7 will give you 28. So, again, how do we arrive at 340 from 348? 348 plus 20 minus 28 will give you 340,000. I hope you can remember these connections. Last, gain on sale. Have we solved for gain on sale already, class? For 2019? Yes. Parent is how much? 12. Consolidated entity is, we did not solve for carrying amount at the date of sale is 340. How much was it sold for to outside parties? 360. So how much is the gain in the eyes of the consolidated entity? 20. Okay, so the gain on sale in 2019 in the eyes of the consolidated entity is 20. How did we get 20? The carrying amount in the eyes of the consolidated entity of 340 deducted from the selling price of 360. That's the first solution. But what is the alternative solution? Can we arrive at 20 starting at 12, class? Yes. How do we arrive at 12 from 20? How do we arrive at 12? How do we arrive at 20 from 12? This is 2019. It took place in 2017, so 3 years. How much is the remaining, the unamortized excess, class? After 3 years, how much was it, class? Was it 20? Was it 20? Ilang tong initial, class? Was it 35? And for 3 years minus 15, we will have 20. And then, uh, we will have 32. And then, how do we arrive at 20? Yeah. So, class, how much was the unamortized excess, class? 20. Class, the 20 here will be deducted, class. Was it 20 or 25? 20. The 20 here will be deducted because this is now pertaining to a gain. When we were computing for the depreciation expense, the excess was added. Do you follow? So the 12 will be deducted. So 12 minus 20. So we will be at negative, how much? 12 minus 20. We will be at negative 8. But what are we trying to arrive at? We're trying to arrive at positive 20. How do we arrive at positive 20 from negative 8, class? We would need how much? 28,000. Where do you think this 28,000 will come from? The remaining, the unrealized gain. Because once it is sold to outside parties, class, the entire unrealized gain will be considered already realized. Instead of amortizing the unrealized gain every year that we are using the asset, once it is sold to outside parties, the entire unrealized gain will be considered as realized. So pila to ang remaining unrealized, class? 28. So 12 minus 20, what does the 20 represent? The unamortized excess, which will be eliminated entirely because the asset is already sold to outside parties, plus the realized gain of 28, that will lead you to 20. Because I hope you can remember this, class. To arrive at the gain on sale to be reported by the consolidated entity, it's the amount reported by the parent minus the remaining excess plus the realized gain. Everything will be realized already once it is sold to outside parties.